Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about in the protein sections are glycoproteins and proteoglycans. Okay, so glyco and glyc, it means sugar. Sugar. Okay, so glycoproteins are pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, they're large proteins. So glyco, they're large proteins with small carbohydrates attached. So basically what we see like a globular protein. So here's a protein, alpha chains, beta chains. And then attached to the top of this, or on this, you will see these sugars attached to them. Now you're going to see these primarily when we talk about the cell wall. And these are pretty much signalings to let other things in the body know what's going on with that cell. So those are glycoproteins. Okay. Glycoproteins are also found in enzymes. Okay, you can have an enzyme that's made up of a glycoprotein. Antibodies, you will find them there. Hormones, and mucus. Okay, notice the spelling of mucus. Okay, that's M-U-C-U-S. That is the icky goo that mucus, M-U-C-O-U-S, glands produce. So OUS is the gland, US is the snot, is the gross stuff. Okay. So that's what a glycoprotein is. So it's just an enzyme that's got sugars attached to it. And then we have our proteoglycans. And I want to make special mention of these is because I'm going to talk about proteoglycans quite often when we talk about cartilage, when we talk about the bones, and when I talk about making things, making fluids thick. Okay. So basically, what a proteoglycan is large. They're large sugars. They're polysaccharides. Okay, and a combination of polypeptides. Okay, whereas our glycoproteins are pretty much like 1 or 2 or 3 chain sugars. Polysaccharides, we're talking like 15, 20 sugar chains, and our protein being dissolved in fluids. And what these do, these proteoglycans, is they increase the viscosity, or they promote viscosity. Now if you're like, well, what is viscosity? Viscosity is thickness of a fluid. Okay, so water, pure water itself, really isn't very viscous. I mean, it free flows. But if you take a look at syrup, let's say like a maple syrup, it's really thick. You hold it upside down and it rolls very slowly. And the reason is you have all these sugars dissolved in it, and what those sugars does is make it sticky, and it makes it really thick. And that's basically what your body does. If your body needs to make something kind of thick and not flow very well, you're just going to put some kind of proteoglycan in it, and it's going to thicken up the fluid itself. Okay, so that's all we really need to worry about and go over when talking about proteoglycans and glycoproteins. We're going to see these much more when we talk about individual systems themselves. And with that, we're pretty much done with the basics on proteins. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about nucleic acids.